Excellent.
Good, yeah.
Good to know. Thank you very much. So yeah, a little bit just covering basics of the Beaches Marine Litter project for those of you that aren't quite so familiar with it or just want a refresher, and then get into the juicy part about this new report that I've been working on. There we go. So Beaches Marine Litter Project, we shorten that to BMLP. It began in 2005, and there's usually between 1 and 3 project officers. Currently there's 2 of us because I've taken 2 part-time jobs to make it a full-time job. And the aims is to do environmental education and to promote and maintain clean beaches in Argyll and Bute. This is, of course, quite a challenge. Argyll and Bute Local Authority has the 2nd longest coastline of almost 4,000 kilometres. We've got 23 inhabited islands, and about 80% of Argyll and Bute's population live within 1 kilometre of the coast. So we're all really linked to our coastline here. We're also heavily reliant on tourism, which can be a little problematic when we have somewhat ugly litter hotspots, such as the famous one down in Argyll. So as part of the Beaches Marine Litter project, as Graham briefly mentioned at the start, we do lots of educational workshops to raise awareness, particularly working with local schools. And the idea is to change behaviour for the better and ideally stop it being a problem in the future. We link to the curriculum as much as we possibly can and support things like the eco schools where they do the green flags. The John Muir Award is increasing in popularity, and also supporting things like the Duke of Edinburgh Awards. We try and tailor it for different age groups. So we've got stories and drawing for the younger age groups. We think about where does plastic actually come from and how do we reduce it. It's amazing how many people, including teachers, don't actually know that plastic is made from oil largely. We've got COP28 on the go currently, so we have a workshop where you can battle it out in the class or in your teams in our World Climate Summit to see if you can get better world climate agreements than the politicians themselves managed to come up with. And of course, this time of year, we've got a seasonal workshop. So I'm going to be in a school this afternoon doing a Christmas workshop where we're going to make eco-friendly Christmas decorations. Beach cleans are, of course, our bread and butter, where people can see the issue of marine litter firsthand. It's great to get outdoors, all the well-being goodness that provides, and also learning while you're there. It helps tidy things up, and we try and collect data which we share with Marine Conservation Society and keep Scotland beautiful. We also encourage participants to continue doing their own beach cleans, organise their own events, and ideally adopt their own local beach. So we support beach cleans, as Graham mentioned at the start. We can provide lots of advice, and we have equipment that people can borrow, so particularly litter pickers and bin bags. We've got equipment located all across Argyll, and there's an online map that people can check where their nearest litter pick location is. We try and do a lot of public engagement to raise awareness, build community ownership, and provide people with information that helps them to reduce their own waste. And particularly during COVID, we developed a library of online resources. So we're quite active on social media, both on Facebook and Instagram. We have a YouTube channel with a whole range of different videos that people can use to learn or just have a bit of fun with some of the stories. And we also created downloadable activity packs that parents, teachers, educators, anyone can download these with fun activity ideas to ideally get outside. Most of the activities are focused on getting people outside learning things, but some of them are suited for indoors as well, since we all know the weather isn't always ideal here in Argyll for going out and about. We also have the Grab Trust Litter Grant, small grants of up to about 250. I believe there's still some money in the pot for that currently. And this is for groups and organisations doing litter picks in their Argyll and Bute area, that they can earn some pocket money for their group to maybe get their own litter pick equipment after doing a litter pick. Just go to the Grab website for more information on that if anyone is interested. So the juicy bit that I've been working on recently. So I've been doing a beach litter report, and this is using the Marine Conservation Society Beach Watch data that volunteers from all across the country contribute to this. I would like to highlight that there are a lot of beach cleans that happen where the data isn't collected or isn't submitted to the Marine Conservation Society. So any information that's in this report is understating the scale of the issue. This is just the figures from the data that has been collected and submitted to the Marine Conservation Society. And this has been running from 1994 up to 2002 is the data that I had available. The report focuses on Argyll and Bute. Although Beach Watch is a UK-wide programme, this report is specific to Argyll and Bute, and particularly investigating interesting litter trends and seeing what's going on. And it's to help us target the most problematic litter types here in Argyll and Bute, which, as we have been discovering with the CUP trial, is a lot easier said than done. So the data collection, as I say, it's the Marine Conservation Society Beach Watch data spanning from 1994 to 2022. And there has been 434 individual beach surveys. These have taken place on 156 different beaches. You can see a map there of the good variety of locations of beaches. So it's nice to see that there has been a good spread of where the data has been collected. And it has a combined total of 101 kilometres of beach that has been surveyed. It has been 5,151 volunteers that have participated in the Marine Conservation Society submitted Beach Watch data. Like I say, I'm well aware there are many, many more volunteers who have done beach cleans, but just sticking to this data, since that's the solid figures that we have, over 5,000 volunteers have contributed and calculated that this contribution would be worth over £90,000 at UK living wage if this sort of work wasn't reliant on volunteers. So it's saving taxpayer, government, whoever you want to pay the bill, it's saving them a lot of money, but we certainly should not undervalue and underappreciate the work and time that these volunteers put in. It makes a huge difference. So litter levels. There's been over 14,000 kilograms of litter cleaned, again, just from the Beach Watch data. I'm well aware there's been a lot more, and over 3,000 bin bags recorded. Black spots, particularly Argyll. One survey of just 10 metres off the beach recorded 3,583 pieces of litter just in that 10 metres. So that gives you an idea of how bad these black spots can be. And the data also shows that there are 3 times more litter now than there was back in 1994. Argyll and Bute suffers slightly higher levels of litter than the national average. So in Argyll and Bute, there was an average of 172 pieces of litter per 100 metres of beach. The national average is 165 pieces of litter per 100 metres. Litter types. So there was over 300,000 items that have been recorded in the MCS data. And unsurprisingly, plastic is the most common type of litter. Sanitary items were the second highest recorded type of litter. So here we have a chart and we can see very clearly plastic makes up most of it. And then sanitary is 12%. Next up, glass. Very common to have lots of shards of glass on beaches, which is very sad and a bit of a public health hazard. And then the next largest chunk of the pie was metal. If we look closer at plastic and polystyrene items that were recorded, I've broken it down into vague themes here. So in blue, we've got categories that are associated with food and drink on the go. So we can see that's a fair chunk of the pie. And then in red, we've got categories that are associated with aquaculture and fishing. And then the next biggest theme chunk is the greens there, so the large and the small pieces. These are bits of litter that are plastic, but we couldn't identify exactly where they came from, what they are, so they make up the next largest chunk. But it's quite interesting that food and drink related litter and aquaculture are two of the biggest chunks of the pie here in Argyll and Bute. So plastic litter. Aquaculture associated waste averages 107 pieces of litter per 100 metres of beach. And when we look at food and drink related litter, the most problematic or most common type of litter in this category was snack packets, where there was an average of 57 snack packets per 100 metres of beach. And second most common was plastic drink bottles and caps and lids from these bottles, with an average of 32 per 100 metre of beach. Sanitary litter, as I said, is the second most common type of litter in the Marine Conservation Society categories. This is usually from sewage overflows from poorly maintained, old and overloaded sewage systems and water treatment works. The entire country is suffering from overflows, lack of maintenance. It's been all over the news. There has been poor management, and Argyll is no exception. When we look at the data, a large chunk, the largest chunk, 68% of the sanitary litter that was recorded was plastic cotton bud sticks. But luckily these have been banned from sale in October 2019. It'll be interesting to monitor the data and see how long it takes for these to stop turning up on our beaches, or whether they're going to continue for many, many years to come. And the next most common type of sanitary litter was menstrual litter. As Graham mentioned, we've been doing a project around this. So there's on average 8 items of menstrual litter per 100 metres of beach. You really can find anything when you do a beach clean. So here's some of the stranger things that we have found in the data. So there's been mattresses, boat winches, ladies' undies, plastic mouse, burnt motorcycles, burnt computers, knuckle duster, an entire council Christmas tree complete with the fairy lights, a canoe, a full makeup bag, toilet seats, and lovely things such as bottles of pee. So I think it really highlights that we need to focus more on the waste hierarchy. We need much more focus on the prevention rather than recycling or reuse. Prevention is the most important and most effective thing that we can do. So things like specific item bans. There has been the carrier bag charge, which was implemented in 2014. The Marine Conservation Society have been monitoring that across the whole of the UK, and their data shows that following this ban, there was 60% drop in the number of plastic bags found on UK beaches. So a great success story that single ban or charge, I think it was 5p when it first came in, I think it's 10p it's gone up to now. So that small charge has had a 60% drop in the amount of plastic bags found on beaches. And as I mentioned, we've had the plastic cotton bud stick ban in 2019, which we will hopefully start to see have some kind of impact. There is a bit of question over, do bans really work? So in 2022, there was the ban in single-use plastic cutlery introduced, and you can see the chart there of plastic cutlery and straws and trays as well. The Marine Conservation Society survey forms have those all together, so I couldn't pull out just cutlery, but those are the totals for the years going along. We've yet to see whether the ban has had a much impact to reduce the plastic ones, but it has led to a very large spike in wood cutlery litter. So you can see there, 2022, a massive increase in the wood forks and wood cutlery appearing. So bans can work, but we need to be cautious that they're not just changing the problem to something else. Wood is certainly better than plastic for being on beaches. It should biodegrade since they don't treat the wood cutlery with anything, but it's still single use. We're still creating it to just throw things away. Graham mentioned we've been doing a little project which has grown, our open reusable cup trial, and we're very pleased that the scientific report for this, the paper has been accepted by the journal. We're just waiting on it being published and we can sing, shout and have a party about that. We also presented the results at a conference down in Birmingham. I'm going to keep this presentation quite short, but there's lots we've been doing around the cup trial to focus on what we can do here in Argyll and Bute to reduce single-use litter to do with food and waste. We've selected cups as what we thought would be an easy win. Turned out to be a lot more complicated than we first imagined. And as Graham mentioned, the Be Part of the Cycle project, where we provided every school with an education pack to try and encourage people to consider reusable menstrual products to reduce how many single-use items were being found on beaches. So golden principles are always reduce, reuse, recycle. Thinking of that hierarchy in order of importance, reduce is the most important thing that we can do, is reduce how much litter we create, how much we use from the planet, and work from there. And before we go, just a quick reminder that your choice really does matter, even for the little things. I love a bar of chocolate. Unfortunately, a lot of chocolate, as we've seen in the data, snack wrappers come wrapped in plastic. But just by choosing a slightly different packaged bar of chocolate, you can reduce your impact away from plastic, which in most cases can't be recycled here in Argyll and Bute, to something that you can recycle and has less impact on the planet. So always think about what little choices you can make, especially as we're going into Christmas and choosing Christmas presents and how you wrap your gifts. So thank you very much, everyone. I hope that's been insightful. The full report, it is just in draft format currently, but Karen, I think you could share the link now and it will be sent out in any follow-up emails from this AGM, but there will be a link to the full draft document of the beach litter report for you to have a look through. As I say, it is just a draft, so don't go sharing it too widely. It's a sneak preview, so I hope you enjoy it. And thank you very much.